So it is very relevant in today's world because education is the door through which we provide knowledge to all systems, to all people. But what Vivekananda wanted, how Vivekananda dreamt of education, and what education did he actually want in India and in the world, we will go through a series of steps. And I myself, as a principal of an English medium school, I try to impart the values of Swamiji. What are the challenges I go through, and what are the things that I keep learning? I will share those experiences, and I think many things I will get to learn from other speakers also today. All the speakers are great, they will be contributing. Swamiji very nicely describes in the definition of education as education is the manifestation of perfection that is already in man. So, by this very definition, we understand that education is actually the very seed of education is inherent within all of us. Swamiji even says that the teacher cannot teach a child, but what he or she can do is to make certain conditions uh, on the favor of a child where those particular inherent qualities could develop according to the proper environment. We can hardly provide the environment, and automatically the seed will grow. In that pattern, Swamiji wanted education. Now, I would like to say certain things that we often face in today's world, which will make us uh, understand the importance why Swamiji's thoughts of education is very important in today's world. Today, when we see the world, we get many educated people. Education in the tagline that they are passed from certain colleges or universities having a particular degree, academic degree. Now we judge a person on that basis that he or she is educated. But at the same time, today, when we see the society, many crimes that are being committed, or students who are very educated in reputed organizations, in engineering institutes, in schools and colleges, they are doing notorious activities. Not only that, they are moving into the dark world. So it is clear that education necessarily need not mean that a person who is educated, have a lot of degrees, or is a topper of the class necessarily does not mean that he or she will be contributing to the society in a fruitful way. Rather, maybe totally opposite in some cases. So certainly education is not the means or the parameter, the academic degrees as far as concerned, to judge a person's character. Swami Vivekananda wanted man-making education. That means that education which not only teaches the academic excellences or the vocational education, but along with that, character formation, which is actually lacking today in our society. So, character formation, how it happens? Swamiji gives a very good example. Guru Griha Bhasa, which actually is the primitive culture of India, where a disciple used to spend a lot of time personally with a guru, which actually in today's world is actually in India, in today's times, we get very less opportunity. But a guru, in which sense? Not only in the spiritual sense. Swamiji says a guru is that person who has built that character, which is like the fire, which will burn in the disciple's mind to be truthful, to be honest, to lead a divine spiritual life, to serve the society at its best level. These are the qualities that a disciple imbibe from the guru, which nowadays we miss. And that is why we see so much things, students doing this and that. Every day newspaper we open and we get to listen and get to read such things. But it is not actually their faults, because they are following their teachers. They are small children, and if the teachers are not of that character, it will automatically flow into those children as well. Even if they are very good in education also, they will be doing such things. If we just read The Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam, in that very book, APJ Abdul Kalam has always mentioned that behind my success, behind my character formation, it was my teachers in those schools. It was not only the teachers in the schools, but also the priests of the temples who have helped me to build a certain quality of life, which was very much necessary in my teenage days to be a successful human being in later life. Swamiji always talked of this. Swamiji says, we want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. Just not education. Today we see unemployment problem in India is increasing at a huge level. Swamiji always emphasized that education which does not enable a person to stand on its own feet both economically and psychologically, that type of education we do not need, is useless. And today we are seeing the result. We have lots of degrees because they are very much talented, but they are today going unemployed because they don't know how to work that skills out, which we see in the developing countries quite well. So, character formation, first important priority, which is very much needed in our country, the way crimes are being increased, especially for the youths. They are the ones who will look after the country in the years to come. They are the backbone of the country. And if they do not remain stable in their character, then automatically the country gets broken, which we are now seeing gradually, unfortunately. Swamiji did not want that, first of all. Secondly, education should not be only concentrating on degree-based education on report cards, but along with that, he or she who passes out from school or a university or any particular educational institution should at least know the primary initials, how he or she can be employed, or he or she can himself or herself start certain entrepreneurship program, he can feed herself. Along with that, they can feed others also, not being a burden on the country but being a kind of solution for the country. That sort of education Swamiji wanted. Another thing, Swamiji wanted man-making education. Here, man-making, Swamiji always used to say, be and make. What is the philosophy of be and make? If you become a perfect human being, if you become an inspiration, if you serve the society with your best, you become an inspiration for the next generation. And the next generation will learn from you. Swamiji always wanted that first you be that character. Gandhiji used to say, be an example. Your life should be an example. So your life should be that sort of example. Automatically, the others around you will get accumulated around you, and they will also follow you. Swamiji was that character. Today, why we are keeping the topic? Vivekananda, education the Vivekananda way. Today, all sorts of conferences are happening. Vivekananda is being the center. Why? Because his concept was such. He has not written a book on education, but his thoughts now is pervading throughout the universe. It is so much universal in nature and so much practical in nature. Another important thing, Sri Ramakrishna said, as long as I live, so long do I learn. Even Gandhiji also used to say this statement. Unfortunately, I think these statements we are forgetting day by day, and that is why clashes happens in our TV news channels every day and also in our real life. So long do I live, a God incarnated soul is saying that he will learn, but we have stopped learning. As a principal of a school, when I implement these values to my children, when I took hold of the school and the other schools I saw, mostly students are passive, but teachers come and teach them that today we will teach you. But today we don't say that, teachers don't say we will teach you. Today we say we will learn. That means their teachers will also learn from students. And of course, I as a principal, I feel I always learn every day, every period that I go for taking class in any particular sections or in any particular standard. I believe I also learn so many things. So learning is sharing. So Swamiji wanted first spiritual knowledge, then secular knowledge. Now the question comes, why Swamiji wanted spiritual knowledge first? Because that is the basis, that is the foundation of India. Religion is the foundation of India. Here, religion is not particularly talking about any particular doctrine of religion or any particular ism of religion. Here, spirituality means the inborn quality that we are born with. The rishis and the Vedas that talked about the universal qualities that every human being born with. So we have to understand those qualities, and on standing on those ground, on our value systems, on our history and culture, when we'll move to the Western world, when we learn the science and technology as Swamiji wanted, we will be of the highest character. Swamiji even said, now the center is India. and it is the center today we can see. So we have to balance both the character formation along with modern education. We should not be swept away with the modern education at the same time loosening our character, our spirit. And today we are seeing so many suicides, so many movies are being made. What do we learn from that? We have stopped learning our own value system. Foreign countries are learning meditation, how to concentrate. Swamiji even said, the only thing I would emphasize on the power of concentration. What is the difference between a big person and a small person? The amount of concentration that he or she puts in. So concentration comes from meditation, leading a spiritual life, righteousness life. Swami Vivekananda's literatures are a guidelines for the youth, how we can become strong human beings. The moment we realize the hidden potential, every child realizes the hidden potential within him or her, he or she can do phenomenal work. Not only for the country, for the whole world, that our rishis has done in that particular age in the Vedic period. And we are the youth of India, we can also do that. The Vivekananda literature are our inspiration. Swamiji talked about the value systems, the value-based education now. The government is empowering in all states the value-based education. Why? Because government has understood only degrees will not make a person, only degrees will not make a person go with good qualities. It is the particular value-based education, and value means our Indian values, which always made us teach the brotherhood of the whole souls as one. So we have to remember these formations. Swamiji, I want to conclude. I think I'm going too long. Swamiji says, no one can teach anybody. This statement is very significant. When I started the school, I took all the students together and I said, what can we learn today? Then all they said, all the children, they were all telling different type of things. Then I said, let us learn from each other. And then they started sharing the teacher as their very dear friend, and they started expressing their emotion, which is lacking nowadays, which is lacking very much in India today. The personal relationship. Swami Vivekananda always emphasized the Guru-Shishya relationship is a very personal relationship, which is now going very much professional. And that is why a student is not respecting a teacher. Even at the same time, a teacher does not know how to respect the dignity of a student because the personal relation is missing. What the relationship that Sri Ramakrishna, the Guru of Vivekananda, had with Swami Vivekananda is an inspiration for us. And from those small stories of their life, we can build our education pattern. It's very easy. It is not difficult. It is not at all a utopian idea. If we live, if we understand what Swami Vivekananda to wanted to give us through education, the definition of education, if we read his lectures, he is very particular. And even if you see the Ramakrishna Mission educational institutions, they put emphasis both on two aspects. The first aspect is the academic side. The second aspect is the vocational side. Students who are not very intellectual, which is we often find in India, who are intellectually poor, are there no future? Yes, parents say, teachers say, tumse kuch nahi ho paega. But Swami Vivekananda's teaching was not that. Even the worst of fellows can do fantastic things if he or she understands the divinity within him or her, the hidden manifested power that is lacking. So the vocational institutions are being opened by Ramakrishna Mission. Why? To make the youths also learn those values, those particular handicraft things, which after they pass out, they can actually employ themselves. They don't have to depend on somebody, but they can stand on their own feet. So along with the theoretical education, practical education needed, and moreover, most importantly, character formation, man-making education is needed. So in my school, I try to provide all these basic facilities. And what are the challenges I come through? Challenges is that even it is always necessary. If you do good things, there will be challenges. The parents often say, why you are not concentrating only on the studies and doing all these things? This is actually the colonial hangover, or what the society teaches us for the long time that has come into our minds. But we have to do it. We cannot just listen back what others are saying. What Swamiji wanted, if we just implement those things in our lives, we'll see fantastic changes. Even the poorest, a child I have seen, could not talk in my school. And I asked him to read Vivekananda. And I kept him always engaging him in and personal contact with him, joking with him, always asking him few questions, having fun of him, at the same time having a friendship with him, and at the same time as a teacher I was also advising him. Automatically when this grown, that child become a very excellent student, and everybody in the class, they were inspired by him or her. This is very much normal. The our at most as a teacher, what is our role as a principal, as a school, as those who are in the educational sector, our teachers as a primary role is to imbibe those values Swami Vivekananda wanted of us. The moment we imbibe that values, if I become a very good human being, my children will also become a beautiful human being. If they become beautiful human being, they will do beautiful things. And I think the world need now those beautiful things, a peaceful life, and working together with the spirit of the oneness of the Vedanta that Swamiji always preached. Thank you. Jai Swamiji.